This is TWiT.
Okay, I got a kick out of this next piece because of what we learned about advertisers' use of ad blockers. Ghostery published what they called their Tracker and Ad Blocker Report, which was the result from research conducted by an independent third-party research firm, Census-wide. It found that, and there's four main bullet points, individuals who have experience in advertising, programming, and cybersecurity are significantly more likely to use ad blockers than average Americans.
That's hysterical.
Isn't that? I love it. It's just great.
I guess they know something, huh?
Uh-huh. These industry insiders are more skeptical of their online safety, underscoring concerns about the current severity of user tracking. Third bullet point, Americans are underestimating the dangers of health and political tracking. And finally, lesser-known big tech players sow distrust among these experts. Okay, so I have an infographic that I duplicated from the report. It shows that whereas 52% of all Americans use an ad blocker.
That number is actually astounding. That's more than half. Wow.
It is a far higher number than I would have ever guessed.
Wow.
That's yes, surprising.
Cory Doctorow has called this the largest consumer boycott in history. And I think these numbers bear it out. That's incredible.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so 52% of all Americans. On the other hand, 66%, so 2 out of every 3 of experienced advertisers block their own ads, or theirs and everybody else's. And I suppose they don't wish to be tracked either.
Yeah.
Okay, the infographic divides all of those surveyed into 4 groups. Everyone, all Americans, everyone, experienced advertisers, experienced programmers, coders, and cybersecurity experts. And that's also the order of increasing use of ad blockers.
Yeah.
So everyone, advertisers, coders, and security experts, with the percentages of use respectively being 52%, 66%, 72%, and 76%. So just over 3/4, 76% of cybersecurity experts surveyed are using ad blockers. The other interesting question each group was asked was why those who are using ad blockers are doing so. They were asked to choose among one of 4 reasons: for the protection of their online privacy, to block ads, to speed up page loading, or none of the above. Interestingly, for every group of users, those 4 groups, the ranking among those 4 reasons, privacy, freedom from ads, web speed, or other, was identical and in that order. The only difference was in the distribution among those reasons. The generic All Americans group was the most evenly split between privacy and not wishing to be confronted with ads at 20% and 18% respectively. And only 9% were using ad blockers for speed. But among programmers and cybersecurity experts up at the other end, the split was much greater at 30% wishing for privacy and 19% wanting not to see ads. Now, with the changes, Google has not only been promising, but is now well on the way to delivering with the implementation and enforcement of their privacy sandbox technologies in Chrome. The connection between advertising and privacy encroachment is truly being broken for the first time ever. But it's a significant change that we can expect the recognition of to take quite some time to spread. And I would argue probably much more time than we even expect. I've heard some of our listeners who simply don't believe it. They don't really care about the technology behind it. For them, it's just blah, 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 blah. Even if they understand it, they're just, they're so jaded that they cannot conceive of a world where we are not implicitly paying for the web by relinquishing our personal information. On my side, I believe in technology that I understand. And thanks to this podcast, which forced me to invest in acquiring an understanding of it so that I could share that understanding, I get what Google has wrought. It is good, it is right, and it makes sense. If it was me doing this, like me doing Squirrel, it wouldn't matter how good it was. But it's not me, it's Google. And it's Chrome. And that means it's going to matter. It's just going to take a long time. I mean, a long time for the rest of the world to catch up. And, that's not a bad thing either, right? Inertia creates stability, and that's also good. And all of those techies who have been coding the technology underlying the tracking, they're going to need some time to find new jobs. So this will give them some time. As I noted recently, it's the presence of advertising that's financing the web. And that shows no sign of changing. Advertisers appear to be willing to pay double when they know that their ads are being well targeted. And double can easily make the difference between a website being financially viable and not. But as the statistics which Ghostery collected showed, everyone knows that the way advertising initially evolved has not been privacy friendly. So we've needed a long-term solution for giving advertisers the ad targeting that they're willing to pay for while not trading away our personal information and privacy. Google's final solution, which amounts to moving all advertising auctioning and ad choice into the user's web browser, I think is brilliant. It flips everything on its head, but it's a massive change, and that will not happen overnight. So we're getting there, but it's going to take a while.
Hey, it's Leo Laporte. I hope you've enjoyed this little snippet from Security Now. If you want the whole show, you can get it at our website, twit.tv/SN. Of course, you can subscribe to Security Now on your favorite podcast, or just click one of the links below.